All right, guys, this is the final, I think, video of 69 Mars laws Elon Musk to consider when it comes to colonizing the moon and Mars and the rest of the cosmos. So where we were at 64. Work must be done to know what energy sources cause more harm than good and do a good job. So we want to make sure that we have real scientists do a good job and not bought off scientists do a bad job, which is what they've done with the soul, with the aura, with a bunch of things, renewable energies like free energy over unity and a bunch of other things, where they've basically hidden all this cool stuff. And they're like, no, you guys can't use it. You have to use natural gas. That's the only thing you can use. So we need real scientists to go through this stuff and make sure that we can figure out what pollutes the most, because we want to have clean water, clean soil, and clean air. We want to be able to put our clothes outside and get them and dry, because if you have a place where you can leave your stuff, you don't have to use a dryer if you can leave it outside. But right now, when you do, you get that black patina, right? It's like a patina, which doesn't make your clothes be worth more when you try to sell them on the market. In fact, you have to put it back in the washer and start over. 65. Voters must be able to choose how their taxes are spent. If everyone, and I mean everyone, must pay taxes, right? Because we want everybody to we want everybody to pay their fair share. So if we want everybody to pay their fair share, then you have to close all the needed loopholes that exist on a permanent basis. And you need to make sure that voters can say, okay, well, I want to fund this thing and I don't want to fund that thing. So, like, as usual, there are a bunch of laws, a bunch of things that left and right both agree on. We always want to, fund those things and not fund the crazy stuff. So let's make sure that that stuff gets funded and the other stuff does not. 66. There needs to be a cap on how many people can live in a certain area, especially if the infrastructure is not able to support an excessive population there. Again, I've lived in Irvine, California, Woodbridge. You guys know that I am a Google guide from Irvine, California, Woodbridge. And when I first came here, it was a very quiet, peaceful place. But now they're popping up buildings everywhere. There's too many cars on the road, and it is a disaster. It's made a disaster with pollution. We have homeless everywhere at every drugstore, at every grocery store. You have people at the front there, and as I said before, if I was a rich man, I would do something about it, but I can't. I have got nothing to give you. I'm unemployable, so I have nothing to give you guys. I would like the government to fix this, and they just won't. And again, it's dangerous for them. It's dangerous for us, because if they're on drugs, they could become violent, and then they're always at the end of they're on the streets, so sometimes you could run them over when you're coming off the freeway. That's one of the worst places, and it should be banned for people to be at the exit of freeways. That should never be a thing. So anyway, more people equals more problems, and therefore also equals more trash produced. Just facts that even Elon Musk cannot deny, even though he tries hard, because it is convenient for product sales and his plans for world domination, right? If you are a business person, you always want to create more things, more. So if you limit the amount of people that exist, you limit the amount of customers that exist. And that's why a capitalist will never be for less people. It's just not going to be a thing. But unfortunately, if you want to minimize pollution, you can't have too many people especially in a specific area. You can't do that. What happens to a lot of rural places in America is they send billions of people to that area, and then the infrastructure can't sustain it, and it just falls apart. You have traffic jams, you have all kinds of disasters, and so that never works. Limits the amount of trash created, limit the amount of people, and make it work so that everybody can live well and prosper. 67. A president must be a president for Republicans and Democrats, leaning into the best policies from left and right. Make them work and fix problems. We must have presidents who fix problems and find possible solutions to problems and work with left and right, because the majority of problems that exist cannot be solved unless you work with left and right simultaneously. Whenever you don't work in a bipartisan way, nothing ever gets fixed. So, 68, fix migration. Only legal immigration should exist, and people should be actively saving people who deserve and need to be saved instead of pretending saving people that instead are used as slave force to do jobs in half the time, on half the budget, like on Foxconn, but on corporate America, right? Excuse me. That's why people don't do live streams or do live recordings. You don't get to be a pacifist unless there is a CIA, military police force, border patrol that is there to protect you. You must always thank the people, and you can't have this craziness of defund the police, defund the fire department, whatever it is, defund the border patrol. That always works out badly for everyone. And last but not least, 69. Expunge the national debt and put in place systems to avoid ever going into the red ever again. You have to do this, because this is something that the government uses against we the people every time to start a war. They say, we're just dying out here. We can't fix the national debt. And so what they do is they sell weapons to that country, and then all kinds of nasty stuff starts everywhere, and we're back to square one with the big oil, big business, big church, and all that stuff destroying our lives. So to end this series of videos, I want to say, to solve real problems in America, it can only be done by bipartisan support, like transitioning to electric, because you can't just have the government step in and go around killing industries and putting millions of people out of work without there being a solution and a place for them to go, as well as jobs they can earn their keep with. If you want to get people to transition from gas cars, first let's make gas-powered vehicles go as far as possible. That means most gas engines are only about 20% efficient. If we could bring up the efficiency of a gas-powered engine to, let's say, 70 or 80%, then you could maybe just use, I don't know, if you fill a gas tank, right? What do you usually get? If you fill your gas tank, you might get like half a week worth of travel. What if you could fill your gas tank once and it would be good for a month? Something like that, maybe 2 months, depending on how far you travel. That would be a good savings. Right? All energy in the USA is capped at 20% efficiency. So our solar panels are capped at 20% efficiency. Our gas-powered engines, our windmills, everything is capped at 20% efficiency. You can't go on like this. Make everything at least 70, 80% efficient, and then everything gets better for everyone. Maybe let's raise the efficiency, as I said before, up to 80% on average. You can still drill, baby, drill, but flood the market with cheap alternatives that cost much less than your standard gas-powered car, while building the infrastructure to charge and support electric cars, right? If you don't have the infrastructure to charge your electric cars and your grid falls apart whenever everybody's charging their cars, that's not a solution. So that's why you need a bipartisan thing. You need to look at all of these situations, including, can you repurpose a plant that builds gas cars? Most chassis are probably going to be able to, like, especially, I'm an expert with remote control cars, but you can turn a remote control car into a gas powered car. So there should be methods of doing that with regular cars, where you can turn a gas powered car into a hybrid or into a fully electric. So we don't have to destroy an entire industry. If you only solve one of these problems on its own, you fail to solve the whole problem, which is what I was talking about before. While you're solving the problem, you need to help car plants repurpose their gas and other systems to work together. So you can't run the government like Elon Musk, where he shows up and he just destroys Twitter. If you do that, it's going to be a disaster. Then you won't be able to do anything good. So, as I said before, you got to work this as a bipartisan president and get this done. It's never going to work if you do it in one way. You either end up displacing all these workers on one end and destroying an industry on the other end. So it's got to be a very, very well thought out plan strategy to get this to work. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope this helps.